Welcome to the home inspection of 1912 Winchester Street, Mckinney. Just a quick outline. The inspection is going to cover everything from the roof to the foundation. We're going to be looking at detail of everything in between. We'll be running a sewer cam down the sewer lines, and we'll be measuring the foundation level and doing an infrared scan. All of this is really to establish the true condition of the property. Having done all that, I hope I don't find things, because we'd like you to be able to get your house and knowing that it's in good condition. So this starts off with the foundation inspection. Don't hesitate to call us on anything that we say or mention. If you want more outline and more detail on it, we'd be more than pleased to do that. Go through the whole video, even if it is quite long, because it'll have comments on it that may not necessarily appear in the report. This foundation is a post-tension cable foundation. We're currently at the rear right elevation. Now, as we're going around, we're also looking at the condition of the walls. Walls, in fact, give you an indication of the condition of the foundation. You get cracks in the walls, you might actually have a problem with your foundation. But just glancing up here, we can see we have windows that have steel lintels over them. Those steel lintels, that's the steel lintel there, they should have what we call weep holes. They're similar to these holes down here. And they allow air to circulate around that area and dry out the lintel. Without it, it can rust. But also, it actually concentrates moisture in that area, and that too can have a problem. So we want to see the holes put in. It's very easy, just drill through above the lintel through the mortar. Moving further round. Now we've got an issue here too, because down the bottom of the window we've got holes in the caulking here, all the way around. Poor caulking here. Caulking is essential to preserving the integrity of the building. Holes such as we've got here can allow moisture to get into the wall, especially if we get heavy rain, but even in summer or winter, as the temperature changes, the water can condense on the vapor barrier inside, and at some point it can get into the actual house. So we want to see all the caulking repaired in this house. It's getting to that stage, it needs to be redone. There's another hole in the caulking here, and we've got holes here. See, water's going to get in there, again, inside the cavity wall system. It's not going to help the integrity of the building, and cracks like this, that too will allow water to penetrate. We don't want that to happen. So continuing round, we have a wooden column here. I say it's a wooden column. Haha, you've got brick, you say. Well, actually what supports it is not this brick. Brick has no structural integrity. It has actually some pillars in there, and they're actually wood. So we should see weep holes at the bottom to allow air in the inside this column to breathe, so it will travel up and out the top, and as it does so, it removes moisture and keeps the timber dry. Again, we've got missing weep holes from over the top of all these lintels. It's really got to be fixed. Now, this doesn't mean to say that there's a high price for this. Fixing those holes over the lintels, it's very common. I find it on a lot of houses, and a handyman can do it for you. You can do it yourself actually. All you need is an electric drill and a masonry bit, about 1/2 inch diameter, and you're away. We have a nail protruding here, can you see it? There. Should be cut off. Don't want those things there, they can rust out, and then the water can get in there and crack the foundation if it freezes. Moving to the rear elevation of the property. Now looking at the garage. We're still looking at the foundation, but as I say, I'm looking for those telltale movements that are reflected in cracks in the brickwork. This is very poor. You've got a downpipe from the gutter up there. It's going to empty all the water onto the shingles here, and as it does so, it'll wash away the grit. Now the grit's there to reflect the sun's ultraviolet rays and protect the shingle. Once that grit's gone, the ultraviolet rays will deteriorate the bitumen, the shingle will crack and water will get through, and in the long term it'll rot the roof. Moving now to the left-hand elevation of the property. Post-tension cable lane showing here. You can see the metal? Well, that's not good because it can actually rust out, and all you got to do is cover it with a waterproof cement called Pargin. You can use a hydraulic cement, and you just fill that little hole where it's popped out, and that will protect it. Again, weep holes missing from over the top of the lintels. And we've got lots of holes. Oh no. Oh dearie me. We're going to be checking inside and might be damage to the woodwork inside. Can you see that hole? Gallons of water would have got through there. Absolute gallons. We're actually just at the front right elevation of the property. Zoom out a bit, you can see the bushes there. If you come in, here we are, right at this corner, and we have a hole. It's probably about a whole square inch in width and breadth. It's going to let gallons of water in. Now while we're here, all the way around we've got these little blocks put by the downpipes. It's really not good enough. It's actually going to allow water to accumulate here. What you should have is extensions put on to take the water 4 to 6 foot away from the foundation. Moving to the front elevation. And again, there's no weep holes in these columns. They should be at the bottom. So they need to be installed. Now as I go round, often I get criticism from realtors that I call out things that other home inspectors do not. Well, the reason is that there is a sort of a practice within home inspection where the home inspector looks at a property and says, well, when this property was built, it wasn't code to actually perhaps put weep holes over the steel lintels, therefore I won't mention it. Well, I don't do that because that's an assumption being made by the inspector. You don't want to know that. Now, you may not want to do anything about it with the homeowner when you buy it. It's just so you know and you can fix it. Doesn't mean to say you're going to sort of negotiate heavily on it. So I put everything down because it's my intention to tell you as much about the property as I can. So we're at the front right elevation. Again, we're still looking at the foundation. We've found no concerns so far. Got a corner pop here. It's very common. It's a cosmetic issue. Don't worry about it. Okay. So now we're at the right hand front of the elevation. We have considerable erosion occurring. You can see here this concrete, and here it's starting to expose the concrete and it will undermine the foundation. So on a scale of 1 to 10, weep holes come in at about 4 or 5. This comes in at 10. This has to be fixed because it won't get better or get worse. So you've got to have this backfill to support the foundation. here you've got holes in the caulking around the penetrations for the air conditioning unit. Water's going to get in there, so that needs to be. Okay, that concludes the foundation inspection. So on the day of the inspection, foundation was performing as required. All good. This is the beginning of the roof inspection. We're beginning looking at the soffits, looking for the ground at the moment, and then we're going to be going elevated up, and if we can at certain places get on the roof. Now just to let you know, I will not be walking on the top of this roof here, it's too steep and too high. However, I have a camera, I have a sky cam. This is a camera remotely controlled from the ground and goes 30 foot above the ground, so we'll be able to see what's going on up there. So this stage we're trying to find things that could give us a problem. Well, here we've got a gutter downpipe emptying over the roof. This is going to cause a lot of problems. It's an expensive roof, and I've already explained the problem. Now, up here, in this area here, is flashing. Across here there's flashing. You'll see in the report a bit more about it. You should have kick-out flashing there. I'll explain what that is in the report, but it's pretty essential. Now we're moving to the left-hand elevation. Again, we're concentrating on the soffits and the near roof areas here. We're looking for ways water can get into the building and cause damage. Okay, now there's a hole up here, and you can bet your last dollar that water's going to get in that hole. Again, we've got gutter emptying over the roof. Now we're going to be looking at the roof in closer detail, and one of the things I've noticed, this is all part of the forensic art of home inspection. If you look at the fence here and you look very closely at it, you will see there are dings on it. This is caused by hail, and the hail was sufficiently hard that it actually bruised the actual wood itself, and it's all the way down here. So we know that the hail is going to be coming in this direction, and therefore we'll be particularly interested if there's any hail damage on roofs up here and roofs up the top here. Now again, it's very difficult for me to get close up there because I don't have ropes, it's too steep, but again we'll look with the camera, and we can also use a telephoto lens from the ground just to see if we've got any damage to that roof at all. But also note that here is a new roof, brand new. So I'm assuming that was taken out just after in April by the hail. So we're concerned about hail damage. So what we're going to do is do a little bit more forensics. We're at the air conditioning unit, we're at the right hand elevation, and the hail would have been coming in this direction. And yes, lo and behold, here we have, this is hail. These dings here. More in here. Okay, down this side here. Let's have a look at the top. Yes, and there's some of the oxidisation of the paint has been knocked off. We look too at the windows, see if there's any damage at the windows. There doesn't appear to be. But these windows are quite strong, so they're unlikely to break as easily as some window trims do. And we've got soft metal here, and we have dings on it. So we have a good probability that there's some hail marks on the roof. Let's go up there with a ladder and look. I'm standing at the ladder at the right hand elevation. You see the AC units are down there. What we're looking for is hail damage to the roof. There is a slight amount of damage here. If I come in with the camera here, it's difficult to see really, but there's a mark there. You see here, that's very typical of hail. There's another one here. Now what we're looking for, and I'm not going to go to that trouble because it's not my job, we're looking for a certain level of indentations caused by the hail per 100 square foot. But I've seen enough around the building now to say that you should request that the sellers have their insurance adjuster or company come out, send an adjuster out and inspect this roof, and they make a decision as to whether or not the roof needs replacement. We'll have a look at some more other elevations, and I'll take some close-up photographs which should help us identify if there's an issue that the insurance company will address. Even if they don't replace the roof, where those indentations have occurred, those shingles themselves should be replaced because they will over time have a leak. This is the upper attic inspection. While we're up here, we're going to be looking at the installation, what's in here, wiring, everything. We look at the lot. And I think the other thing I noticed here, we got Romex cables, unprotected, running across the service boards. They've got to be protected. It's dangerous like that. The gas supply pipes to the two furnaces do not have sediment traps on them. Water heaters, again we've got gas supply lines with no sediment traps. Okay, this is the temperature pressure relief valve on the water heater. It's the one on the left hand side as you look at both of them, and it's not operating. You see, I try to operate it. It makes the tank dangerous, so that's got to be replaced. Okay, so here we've got a plastic outlet cover. They're dangerous. Can you see how it moves? That can break. That should be metal. And that's true of the switches, like that switch down there. That has to be metal. Now the reason we want it metal is if that breaks, somebody's up here and there's no light, then it's quite possible for them to put their hands in there and get a shock. And we don't want that. That's dangerous. So here we have a flue, and flue's going out there, and there's holes in the corking around it, so that needs to be sealed. This is a flue, and it's not bonded to the grounding system, which means that it's a potential for a lightning strike. It should be bonded and copper wire run down to a grounding bar at the foundation. Greatly reduces the probability of a lightning strike. They're always a dangerous thing. Now, the reason you should do it is to protect your family. It's not something necessarily that's been done by the cities and stuff like that, and frankly I don't care whether the city specifies it or not. What I care about is the safety of the property. So any property that has flues penetrating through the attic should have them bonded. I'm looking out a window and we're looking at an attic. Now the issue with this attic is there's no ventilation to it. As a result of that, any build-up of moisture in that attic is going to stay in there. It's going to get trapped, and that's going to lead to deterioration in the structure. It really must have attic ventilation. There's an attic here, as you can see the rake coming down the roof, and if you come in here, which is the media room, you can see there's no attic access into that attic, and therefore if you wanted to get in there, do any work, it's going to be cutting through the wall, which is an expensive operation, so that should have an attic. There's no access to this attic here. This is the roof over the garage. It also extends back over the house. We come round here. Problem is, there's no access to it at all. So this is part of the house, that's part of the media room, and up here, in this area here, in the garage, should be an access hatch. So somewhere on the ceiling here needs to have one installed. This is a garage fire door, and as such it should be self-closing. The hinges are incorrect. There is a hinge and it's passive. You just fit it to your door, and then when the door is left open as it is at the moment, it automatically closes. And that should be standard with all fire doors. Now this fire door, I'm unconvinced it's a fire door, but I'm going to have to make an assumption it's a fire door because there's no label. See if there's labels up there. I've looked and there's not. So I'm going to mention that it's unlabelled, although probably a fire door because of its weight and feel. This electrical box has a breaker hanging down here. It's actually been disconnected for some reason. The thing about it is that it actually is an arc fault detector, and it's there to protect you. I'm not quite sure what's going on, but I recommend that a certified electrician inspects this box now and tests the integrity of the wiring in the house, because this shouldn't be like this. You ready? Bathtub with chips in it.